Alright guys, gonna shoot a video on processing acorns. I'm actually gonna use some acorns that I harvested last year, and basically to dry them out, I would lay them out on a sheet on my deck in the back in the morning, let them sit all day, and then bring them in at night before the dew came up. And I did that for probably 2 weeks. And so this is a little over a year-old acorns. Down here near the water's edge, and I'll show you, this is actually a place the Kumeyaay Indians used to process their acorns. Figured it'd be appropriate to come down here and process some of mine that way, so stay with me. So here's where I'll be processing mine. I went out this morning and just found a rock to match up pretty well, so I'll grind in there. But I'll show you guys, there's quite a few around here. Looks like that might be another small one right there. Here's another good sized one. So the water hasn't been flowing very well lately. But the Indians, the Kumeyaay in particular, would generally make a willow basket, and after they process down their acorns, let it sit in the water and let the water drain across them. Needless to say, I won't be doing that today. If I was looking to put my basket somewhere, this looks like it'd be a pretty good spot. Good running flow, consistent. The other way to process is they would make a divot in the sand and sometimes use grass in it, sometimes not, but basically make a hole in the sand and carry your water over and just continue to pour it over and let it leach out time and time again until you no longer taste the bitterness. I'll be going a little more modern on this round. Okay, so what I like to do is crack a bunch and then shell them. It seems a little faster that way. So I'm just gonna turn it sharp side down, give it a little whack. And I'm just gonna basically fill this hole up, and then I'll take the shells off. You can tell if you've let these things dry before you process them, they break away from the shell a lot easier when you forage them raw or fresh. They tend to stick to the shells a lot more. So I'm just going to keep on breaking these and shelling them, and get back with you guys. Alright guys, coming along. Remember, when you're foraging, you always want to make sure you don't want to see any black streaks. You don't want to see any holes. The holes are made from weevils. Sometimes you'll see holes that are in the acorn and it'll completely deform the acorn. That's from wasps placing their nests in there. And you can also, off the acorn or off the oak tree, find what are called oak galls, which are big, basically covered over areas. A wasp puts their egg in there, it frustrates the tree covers it over. Anyways, I'll try to show you guys one here in a bit. Okay, so you do want to winnow this stuff, so just basically trying to get as much of this outer stuff off as possible. So just kind of grind it up a little bit, blow it out. Gonna do that to all of them. So here's some of the flour ground down. It's doing a really good job. Do small batches at a time. Alright guys, well here's our finished flour. This really worked well, this rock. The grinding rocks from the Kumeyaay Indians. Who would have thought they'd work well, right? They obviously knew how to use resources off the land a lot better than we do. Well, off to leach, boys. Alright guys, have our acorn flour in a big old just random jar. Gonna fill it to the top with water, or I don't know, 3/4 of the way, and that's what we're gonna leach in. Alright, so here's after a night's soak. You can tell the water is very dark. I'll go ahead and pour some into a pint glass so you guys can get a graphic of how thick and dark it is. So just hold on. Did want to mention before I disturb this, you can see almost like an oil slick on the top. Good stuff. Alright, so you can see really thick dark brown color. Can't even see through it. You might be able to see a little bit of my fingers through that, but barely. So high astringent properties, great wash for antiseptic, good for cuts and whatnot. And you can also use it to tan hides, veg tan, shall we say, or bark tan. So I'm going to go ahead and decant the rest of this, change out the water basically, and keep on doing it until the meal no longer tastes bitter. Okay, so here's our acorn flour. Basically, again, just continued to change the water out. When it's ground fine like this, it only took a couple days to become ready. And again, you know it's ready when you can just basically taste it and it's no longer bitter. So I took it out of the water, squeezed it through a bandana to get as much water out as I could, and put it on this tray. Set the tray on top of the stove and let it dry.